Hello everybody. Just lately I've been doing quite a lot about Doggerland, and then coming across this video and doing a sort of a hangout with Gillian about this video of Atlantis being back, you know, next to England. It was next to England, and not being able to find that video anywhere else. And we've got Doggerland, and anyway, read what's on the screen if you want. I made this video, it was aired last week. It's showing National Geographic. It's this one here, okay, on Sun and Moon. It's only so many videos back. There's the title. And, you know, I knew Doggerbank and what they were saying down there was something, but I hadn't realised it was a star fort and there was so much down there. And then when me and Gillian were watching this, and obviously we did this hangout together, we were suddenly looking at something so different. I can't find it on National Geographic. This is Doggerbank. Look at it. Out between us and, I don't know, Holland, Belgium, no, Holland, Germany. Atlantis, hit by a tsunami. They're putting this as thousands of years ago, and that was it. The whole thing was covered up. It's got bridges. These people were civilized. But look to the land. I don't know whether it's been dug a bit lower than the sea there, but anyway, you can clearly see it through the water. This is what it looks like on graphs. Anyway, this is what this program is saying. But anyway, I'm just adding this in. So, all mapped out. I know what it is. The video where I saw it is saying that this is Atlantis. So when the lady says what she says, which is coming up, I wonder if she knows that all this is supposed to be there. I can't substantiate it, but I'm just showing it. Anyway, I showed this video the other day. They found this down there. Look at the perfect condition it's in. That was down there. It's got the tree of life in the middle of it. There are buildings down there. And that is how deep the water is. It's not very deep there. These are what it's saying it looked like there. I mean, that lady in the video, she's talking about villages and towns went. They're saying it looks like this out there. I'm sure she'll be very interested in hearing this or seeing it. I'm not saying it's real. I'm saying that this is what I've seen. I'm going to send it to her to see what she thinks. Look at that. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we're going to carry on now. It's showing, I wanted to find out the depths of the waters. So on this map here, you can see the very light blue is 0 to 30, and there you go, you can see the Doggerland bit on the right hand side here, and they do it here, and it's a little bit darker there. And I actually know that off Brighton there is a cliff you can find that information. People will say out past the pier, the land drops away. But look, that's 0 to 10 meters or whatever that is, feet. You can see it there. So I was looking up this information and I came across this woman. They are such liars. Now this woman, I really hope she doesn't mind me playing this part of the footage, of her footage. It's on a web page, but she explains really what happened. And the timing is totally wrong. It's all wrong. All of it. This incident with this tsunami only happened in the 1500s. They've told us that it happened, you know, thousands of years before Jesus. Anyway, I was looking up places around the UK where was there trees and that in the water, or they're now petrified because they get seawater or whatever. And I came across quite a few places, you know, one was in Wales, one was in Cornwall, I think one was up north, and they all were explaining that they have, you know, like some big storms have come in, and then what's happened is when those storms have gone, it's shown the tree stumps, which nobody knew were there before. So these articles on the screen now are them even talking about Doggerland there. Look, you can see known as Doggerland, connected to the UK. So all to do with the Ice Age, the last Ice Age and all that. It's a load of rubbish. James even said, you know, because there are quite a big lumps of tree found, how could they have not rotted away, or, you know, it can't be thousands of years old. Anyway, we will get to it, but I've done these little recordings to show you other places, and what this lady's going to say comes up on this video a little bit later on. Yeah, so we're talking about forests on where the beaches are, or being shown after storms. You've got Doggerland, and, you know, and then we find, oh, well, you know, it's now Atlantis, you know, but, you know, I didn't even see it on National Geographic, which is where the video, you know, where the video is supposed to have come from. It had their logo on it. I found it on this channel, and I used a little bit of footage. Anyway, there you go. Look at that. Pool is down. It's further along than the Isle of Wight, going towards Cornwall, but they found this huge piece of fossilised, petrified, ancient tree stump. And then all these places now are showing that on the beaches or in the water there are, or there were, trees that nobody knows about, and now, oh look, an ancient forest has been found. I mean, over our lives, we might have even seen the odd thing like this and not even really thought about it, and just thought, oh well, look, there's a tree stump here, but not really put it all together or something. But I was so pleased, because obviously this is me getting all the information together, and then I come across this lady, and I'm so pleased that she made her video, because she explains it all, and they have, you know, whatever happened in the, say, the 1500s. And to me, something happened with the War of the Roses. That was just such a weird time. That's about the same time. And to me, it all goes back to the War of the Roses. Just, you know, Amy and I have talked about it quite a lot of times. Anyway, there's somewhere else. We've talked about it quite a few times, the fact that something's not right with that time, you can't even work it out. And like the other day I said, I found out that King Charles I of England was also King Charles V of another country, and of that country he was the Holy Roman Emperor, which means he was the Holy Roman Emperor of the UK. Oh no, but he's a UK or a British king, English king, but he was the Holy Roman Emperor. So they don't explain that, do they? But anyway, see again, more cliff line, just like some of the videos that I've been putting out. Tree stumps out there. See below the sort of crust which is around us, or the cliffs that are around us. So, you know, other people, that one was a BBC document or article. You know, this big part of Doggerland was real, and then there's another part where, until very recently, you look up information, what's in the sea is different to what's on the land. We're on a hard rock, and they call the sea something else. With Doggerland and all that, in the older documents, they don't call it Doggerland and land that's in the sea, but now in our history comes Doggerland. And so forth. And so there's always two sides to everything. Anyway, this one, I just wanted to... This is showing something else, right? The best place for trees. But this is the kind of thing, this is what England looks like. What it is the base is there, but you know, it comes out probably to where my... I told you that there's the cliffs of Dover. And there aren't many hills. There are hills, but they're not very big. And then when you get to just 10 miles past me, it goes down like this. So we're living on this plateau, and then this plateau down here is lower. A bit like this drawing. I hope you understand that. I've been dying. I'd love to see a cut through of England like this. But that's about where, you know, you've got to go down the hills. So it's the same thing. Anyway, this was, again, about ancient trees. But that picture for me just explained it all. If you understand that we're living on these plateaus on a plateau. It's a plateau, then other plateaus up and down. And yeah, it's a bit like that. You know, it's not explained to us that that's the kind of place we're living in. There's plateaus up here, lower land down there, and yeah, although this is, you can read, it says there the best populated trees is Dunk, but it kind of explains anyway. Yes, well, dearie me. Always got to be something else, hasn't it? Climate crisis and stuff. Oh, so they said that they would include replanting the trees that they chop down, but they want to chop down the trees. They always seem to want to chop the trees down, and yet there are, you know, those trees in America. There are certain places where there are great big trees, but they're not many anymore. I was just trying to find a map with, well, how far out do the trees go into the water, and you know, but I didn't. It wasn't quite what I wanted. So I wasn't really doing very well. But I keep looking, and I will be playing what the lady says in about 5 minutes time, or just over 5 minutes time. I'm so pleased that she made this video, really I am, because it just, she's not doing it for Tartaria or any other thing. She's just doing her little blog on her webpage and so forth, but she explains it. And so I'm so happy. But, you know, look at the years they're using. 6,000 years. This one's up north. Doggerland side. There you go. Look, there's even tree stumps on the beach. But I still wasn't far. I wanted, what I was really looking for, I wanted a map of where they'd found the trees in the water, and I wasn't finding it, but I was finding places where 6,000 years ago, whatever many thousands of years ago they say, oh, these were ancient trees and forests and stuff like that, and you know, so I was finding, because I specifically put it in fact I started to go through the counties, you know, Dorset, ancient trees and so forth, and so I was doing it individually rather than having one map with them all on. Because they don't say how far they quite go out into the sea, only that they've come across tree stumps, or, I mean, that could be civilization, and it's just, you know, some of the bits of wood could be civilization and then just been left there, but, you know, there's a lot of places with these stumps and so forth, so got to be something else. So that one's Yorkshire, it's in Wales. And then this person, they had an ancient tree buried in Norfolk to be made into a great big table. Weird table it looks, but anyway, that's the log, whether that's real or not. But I just saw that on my rounds, so I thought I'd stick that in. Oh, my daughter's having a bath now, so I'll shut the door. Don't want to hear the bath going in the background, do we? But anyway, and then I think I show a picture of that's made into a table. Oh, everything you look at is just covered. There you go, that's the table, or that's what it will look like. You think, wow, great big table. But always got so many ads. Anyway, there it is. Even just trying to stop on the table was quite difficult. But anyway, yeah, more ancient forests out in the sea around England. But if I hadn't done all this, I wouldn't have found this lady, and I just love what she says. Oh, it's 7,000 years now. And actually, sometimes you have to put in the word woodland. It isn't this forest. You've got to put in different words. But that one's 7,000 years. But tree stumps out in the beach. Maybe more people will notice it now. Yes. Hey, look at that. Trees there. At least we've got pictures of them. This one's linking it to Doggerbank. Most places must have this as well. It can't be the only place, but you know, they talked about this flooding, and everything has been stretched out when actually I think the timing and everything's much more condensed. But all these trees have petrified. It must be the seawater that does it. I'm surprised that it doesn't happen to the fish, does it? But it happens to, obviously, trees don't like seawater either. But have you noticed? Where's the rest of the tree? It must have been a big gale that knocked all these trees down and took them almost to the bottom where their roots are. If you understand what I mean. That must be... Because, you know, they're not... It's not... I don't know. Where's the rest of the tree? That I find so bizarre. And I think we'll move on a little bit because this is... Yeah, I haven't edited it. Right, here we go. It took me ages to get that video going. You can see that tree was cut. A lot of these trees though, where's the rest of the tree? What, that they got broken off that low down? I mean, wow. That one's been cut. Just picture after picture. I mean, you can maybe count the rings in there almost. To see how old that tree is. It's got to be about 50 years old. Where is the rest of the tree? You could even understand that, just don't forget, most of these have been buried, and then with storms and things, they've been uncovered on the beaches. Anyway, we're nearly at the point now. Oh, well, there you go. We're nearly at the point now where that lady's going to play. I'm so happy about this lady. Really, I am. It makes my video. I hope that this leads up to listening to what she says, because they've lied to us when the tsunami happened on Doggerland. It didn't happen thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. Whatever happened, right, it happened in the 1500s. And this lady is going to explain it. Anyway, you can, any of these bits of information that I've put up, you can stop and read them, because it's still quite fascinating to think. I mean, most people don't even realise there's trees in the water. And look at that one. It's a monument. Not very big trees then, are they? If you know what I mean, when you look at that. Anyway, I've seen that a few times. Sea henge. Anyway, the video is going to start playing now.
I thought we'd have a word about the sunken village. Now, some of you might already know about the sunken village, and if you've been to the Russell Beach group meetings, you'll have possibly been to a presentation from Wire Archaeology Society, and they did a talk about the sunken village and whether or not there is one or there's not one, because opinion is divided. So I told you last week about the petrified forest. Actually, I think I'll be able to get round the end. We'll risk it for a whiskey. I told you last week about the petrified forest and the tree remains that you can see. Well, you need to be a bit more bit more intrepid, shall we say, to find the sunken village is supposed to be somewhere round about here. So according to wire archaeology, the remains of the sunken village are supposed to be somewhere round about here. When I say here, I mean there. So apparently in the 1500s there was, it seems fairly certain that there was some kind of big event. What that event actually was is still open to exact identification, but there was some kind of big flood. So it might have been a tsunami, it might have been a bog burst. Whatever it is, it actually washed away quite a few different villages along this coast. So according to wire archaeology, there is a sunken village. They went out at low neap tide. Neap tide being a low spring tide as early as low gets. Somewhere, well, that's the venue, so I'm nearly up to the venue. So from there, in a straight line, somewhere sort of there. And they went out and did a bit of a dig, and they found A-frames obviously off the roof of a house, and various other pieces of masonry and woodwork that could only have been from habitation. They clearly weren't logs and trunks and things that had been washed into the sea and stuck in the mud. And the legend has it that this village was called Singleton Thorpe, as in people that lived on the Shingleton, and they all moved to Singleton. No, sorry, I've got that wrong. The legend is that this was Singleton out here, and then when this event happened, this tsunami, they moved from here inland, and that's how Singleton Thorpe gets its name. That's the right way around. But opinion on that is divided, because historical records indicate that Singleton Thorpe was there long before this flood event took place. So we being me, Visit Cleveland, had a university student from Lancaster do some investigations on it last year, which were really interesting, and it's actually all online for you to read if you want to look at it. So Imogen looked back through all the records that she could find and all the data that she could find to try and identify whether this event had actually happened. And it turns out that yes, it seems indisputable that the event happened, but whether or not it went in the exact precise location of Singleton to Singleton Thorpe is still a bit kind of vague. It's on the Visit Cleveland's website if you want to read it. It's really interesting. It's written in a really easy to understand way. So it's not such a eyebrow piece of research. It's good. It's well worth a read. In fact, I'll put the link in the comments underneath this video, and then you can find it. So, what a lovely day. And just like I said, when you get walking, it is quite warm.
this whole thing with Doggerbank and finding that Atlantis was there, and there's obviously more of these star forts, and there's obviously bigger ones, and whatever it is, it's got to be more than the one in Doggerbank then. But I started to look up information about tsunamis around the UK. I just wanted to know what they said. There is mention of 1775 there, but I was looking now to find the 1500s. There's that lady in Yorkshire, Cleveleys, she had talked about it. Anyway, I started to look at that, pretty vague, 8,000 to 15,000 years ago. That's what that one says on Wikipedia. But kept delving. So that's the lady that with the video that I put on last. It's on Sun and Moon as a premiere. So this video will be afterwards. But there is her. That is her website. It is on there. You can go and read what she says. You can also watch the video. Thank you very much, kind lady. Anyway, so looking at them all, they're just the dates. Anyway, I came across this one. Do you notice that there's no tsunamis or anything that's happening around Doggerbank? Nothing. So how can our history be what they say it is? Anyway, there are the little red dots are where tsunamis have happened in the UK. If it hit Dover, it would have hit Brighton. So that makes sense why the chain pier went in the 1800s. Well, that's when they're saying. Anyway, I looked through this stuff, and it's got the mention of 1755 there. So there's one. Ah, there we go. Now we're at the 1500s. What it says is, an earthquake affected southern England and parts of the continent, 1580, where from London, this event would have been called London Earthquake. Look at that. Yeah, that might have caused the same tsunami as that lady is talking about in the video yesterday. There you go, you can stop and read these. But that's 1580. Collapse of a cliff at Dover. So Dover, London. You can read that. The next one then is 1600s. This is Bristol Channel, so this is just below Wales, really. Bristol, it's in England, but it's below Wales on that side. And then you've got another one, 1749, Milford Haven, Pembrokeshire, so we're talking of Wales again. You can stop and read these if you want, but I just thought it was interesting to see how many tsunamis hit England in the last few hundred years. There's quite a lot of them. Anyway, you can read this. I've stopped it for you to read. It's taking a little bit of time to go on. Anyway, so there you go. There's Wales, and Bristol's in a little bit up here. Ooh, up there in between. There's another one, 1759, Lyme Regis, which is, you've got the Isle of Wight and then you're going towards Cornwall. Then there's another one there in Cornwall. Weymouth, which is a little bit further along from the Isle of Wight, again towards Devon, Cornwall, but it's Dorset. So there's another one there. And now we're getting up to the 1800s. And I just don't know if I believe any of the things they say, but in the 1800s, Brighton lost the chain link pier, which was burrowed into the hill. It had 18 tons of marble on it, and that one's Plymouth, another one Plymouth, and the whole thing was destroyed in the 1800s, so we're just getting up a little bit. That one's another one is Plymouth. So that's Cornwall. And then there's this one. That's Plymouth. And then this one, 1858. I'm going to look to see when the chain link pier went. There you go. Evidence from France, Belgium, the Netherlands, Germany and Denmark. Margate, Dover, Folkestone, that would have affected Brighton. In the Dover Straits, England, with a maximum level of 2.4 metres and gives the source of the tsunami as unknown. But if it was hitting Dover and places there, it would have got to Brighton. It's not that far along, really. 30 miles, 40 miles. It would have affected Brighton as well. But they don't mention Brighton there. But at least we've got the 1858. I'm going to write that down and go and have a look and say when the pier, the other chain, the chain pier was supposed to go. 1858. Got to get a pen that works. Finding a pen. Oh, I've got a pencil now. Oh, that doesn't even work. Oh dear, I'm not doing very well here. Right, yeah, and look, you can read that if you want, the newspaper article. There's another one there. Where's that one? Portland, that's around Portsmouth, I think. Oh, the phone. My phone was ringing. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, the next one, that one is Colchester, so that's the Doggerbank bit. 4.6 metres. That might have covered Doggerland. Another one there, 1884. Wouldn't have just affected Colchester, would it? Where's that one? Pembrokeshire is Wales. There's Pembrokeshire. There was another one, hang on, just above. Where is it? Go back. Check. This one, just going back. It's taking ages. Here we go. Oh, there it goes. What's that one? In Essex. Right, on the earthquakes occurred. Oh, that's Colchester. Again, 1884. Oh, is it the one before? Hang on, let's have a look. So, Colchester and Colchester then. Let's move it on. Pembrokeshire, which is Wales. You can never ever find the same history. Not sure if there's a collapse that happened in 1911. Yes, but that one of 1850, I'm going to go and have a look and see when the pier chain went in Brighton. And then we're going up into the 1940s, but it goes up to the 1960s, and I was quite surprised. You know, 1960s. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see when the link chain pier went in Brighton. Look at that, Royal Suspension Chain Pier, that's what it was called. And even looking this up, it's just so difficult to find the history because it's basically got destruction date 1896 and it was opened in 1823. But well, the dates for the destruction of the chain link pier do not match in with the tsunamis, and I really think that they would have done because, you know, something like that would destroy something like that. But I didn't find what I wanted. But at least I found a little bit more about things. I mean, who would have believed that the UK kept getting earthquakes and tsunamis? Not even that long ago, in the 1800s. Anyway, I just thought that I would add this to this video. It's part 3 really. Just understanding, but still can't clarify the dates because how do they know? It's not, oh, I don't know. Anyway, you get my drift. But anyway, I was looking up a bit there and I didn't find what I wanted, although it sort of said about the pier in the header bar. I didn't really, that's in there, but that's about it really. It doesn't explain, well, I wanted it to explain. But anyway, it was good fun looking. Pictures of the chain pier. That's all that was in that one. But, you know, that was so important because this pier was half of a chain link bridge. It was half of it. Shall we have a look at the picture again? So, the UK or England itself had quite a lot of tsunamis and problems and flooding, which isn't talked about properly. And then we have this beautiful pier. But you see, it's half of a chain link bridge. Because obviously half of it is burrowed into the land. And I mean, how would they have been able to have done this? This obviously had to go. Because it just shows that we were a lot more advanced than they said we were. So this is why this obviously had to go. But after this, they made bridges. So it couldn't have been this bad because they made bridges from it. This is only half the bridge, really. I know it's a pier, but this is where the suspension bridge came from, was this pier. So it couldn't have been that bad then because they've used it in bridges. See what I mean? But the whole thing went. And they said it had 18 tons of marble on the end when the ships came in. And then they went off to France. But, you know, so much of it is lies. But look at it. If this, well, I suppose there are a few pictures. There's supposed to be one there. There you go. Anyway, so we found out a bit more. England covered in tsunamis, earthquakes, and I don't believe this went like they said. This must have happened in one of the tsunamis. But anyway, thanks for watching.